Hi, welcome to the quiz. You can answer along on quizalto.com, all for free. The exact URL of this quiz will be in the notes down below. Let's get started, good luck. What is not a capability of Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? Running Active Directory domain controllers. Providing file shares accessible by Windows applications. Scaling storage capacity on the fly. Offering serverless file sharing functionality. Amazon FSx focuses on managed file storage, not running Active Directory domain controllers or serverless file sharing. What are the considerations when choosing between a multi-AZ and single AZ deployment for Amazon FSx? Scalability, security, cost, availability, and performance, and encryption. Regions. When creating an Amazon FSx for Windows File Server file system, what is the minimum storage capacity that can be configured? 200 GB, 300 GB, 400 GB, 500 GB. The minimum storage capacity that can be configured when creating an Amazon FSx for Windows File Server file system is 300 GB. What are the two deployment options available for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? Active Directory and Workgroup. Burstable and provisioned. Cloud and on-premises. Multi-AZ and single AZ. Amazon FSx offers multi-AZ for high availability and single AZ for cost-effective deployments. When creating an Amazon FSx for Windows File Server file system, what Windows version compatibility is supported? Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2012 R2, Windows Server 2008 R2, Windows Server 2016. Windows Server 2019 inch. When configuring Amazon FSx for Windows File Server, what is the recommended storage capacity mode for unpredictable workloads? Highly available. Standard. Throughput optimized. Scalable. The scalable storage capacity mode in Amazon FSx for Windows File Server is recommended for unpredictable workloads. What data consistency model does Amazon FSx for Windows File Server provide? Linearizability. File system semantics. Strong consistency. Eventual consistency. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server provides file system semantics. When configuring Amazon FSx for Windows File Server, what is the recommended throughput capacity mode for workloads requiring sustained high throughput? Scalable. Multi-AZ. Standard. Throughput optimized. The throughput-optimized capacity mode for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server is recommended for workloads that require sustained high throughput. Which Amazon FSx for Windows File Server deployment type offers the highest levels of availability and fault tolerance? Edge deployment. Hybrid deployment. Single AZ deployment. Multi-AZ deployment. A multi-AZ deployment for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server offers the highest levels of availability and fault tolerance by replicating data across multiple availability zones. Which AWS service provides integration with Amazon FSx for Windows File Server to automate backups? AWS Backup, AWS CloudTrail, AWS CloudFormation, AWS Shield. AWS Backup provides integration with Amazon FSx for Windows File Server to automate backups and ensure data protection and compliance. How can you migrate data to an Amazon FSx for Windows File Server file system? AWS Import, Export Service, AWS Data Sync, AWS Backup, AWS Snowball Edge. AWS DataSync provides a seamless approach to migrate data to Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. When configuring Amazon FSx for Windows File Server, what does dedicated IP refer to? A reserved IP address for administrative purposes. An IP address dedicated to data transfer operations. A fixed IP address within the subnet range. A static IP address assigned to the file server instance. A dedicated IP in Amazon FSx for Windows File Server refers to a static IP address assigned to the file server instance. What is the primary benefit of using Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? Provides on-premises file access to S3 buckets. Offers a serverless file sharing solution. Reduces the need for manual Windows Server patching. Fully managed file storage for Windows workloads on AWS. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server eliminates the need to manage Windows Server infrastructure, allowing you to focus on your applications. When configuring Amazon FSx for Windows File Server, which deployment type provides a fully native Windows file system experience? Single AZ deployment, multi-region deployment, multi-AZ deployment, edge deployment. A multi-AZ deployment for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server provides a fully native Windows file system experience with support for continuous availability. What is the recommended approach to achieve high availability for an Amazon FSx file system? Deploy in a multi-AZ configuration. Schedule regular backups. Enable Active Directory replication. Utilize AWS File Gateway. Multi-AZ deployments ensure automatic failover across availability zones for high availability. Which AWS service can be used to automatically back up Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? AWS Glacier, AWS Backup, AWS Storage Gateway, AWS Snowball. AWS Backup can be used to automate the backup of Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. What features of Amazon FSx for Windows File Server help with Active Directory integration? Domain authentication and Active Directory users and groups access control. Performance monitoring and scaling. Automatic backups and disaster recovery. File encryption and data lifecycle management. Domain authentication and AD users and groups integration simplify permission management for Windows file shares. What type of storage is used by Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? Solid-state drives. Amazon Elastic Block Store. Amazon S3 Glacier. Magnetic hard disk drives. Amazon FSx leverages SSDs to provide low latency and high throughput for Windows workloads. What is a key benefit of using Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? Container orchestration. Distributed ledger technology. Fully managed native Windows file system. Serverless architecture. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server offers a fully managed native Windows file system. What is the minimum throughput capacity that can be configured for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? 8 MB/s, 64 MB/s, 32 MB/s, 16 MB/s. The minimum throughput capacity that can be configured for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server is 8 MB/s. What is the minimum size of Amazon FSx for Windows File Server storage volume that you can create? 128 GB, 32 GB, 64 GB, 16 GB. The minimum size for an Amazon FSx for Windows File Server storage volume that you can create is 32 GB. Which encryption option is supported by Amazon FSx for Windows File Server? Encryption of data at rest using AWS Key Management Service. Encryption of data in transit using SSL/TLS. Encryption of data in memory using EFS. Encryption of data using AWS IAM policies. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server supports encryption of data at rest using AWS Key Management Service. What feature of Amazon FSx for Windows File Server allows you to access your file systems using your existing Active Directory credentials? Integration with AWS Key Management Service. Integration with AWS Directory Service. Integration with AWS IAM. Integration with Amazon Cognito. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server integrates with AWS Directory Service. When configuring Amazon FSx for Windows File Server, what type of file system is used? Extension 4. HFS Plus. NTFS. FAT32. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server uses NTFS for its file system. What is the maximum throughput for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server in the throughput optimized mode? 2.048 GB/s, 512 MB/s, 1.024 GB/s, 4.096 GB/s. The maximum throughput for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server in the throughput optimized mode is 2.048 GB/s. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and, if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.